morning. It is Friday, October 4th, and it is a gorgeous day, and I have my camera horizontal now, so I figured it out on my dashboard, and the leaves are gorgeous today. There is lots of orange, lots of red. Very, very beautiful day. And it's 50 degrees, which that's been pretty much the temperature in the morning. Last week was interesting. During the fair, we had we had Thursday, it rained. I guess Friday was pretty good, and Saturday was pretty good. But we had a couple cold days, so when that happens, you think that's going to be it. It's going to be cold till next year. But New Hampshire keeps you guessing. The weather changes and you just really never know. Yesterday we had a soccer game and it was interesting. It was kind of chilly in the morning, and then in the afternoon it was hot. Then it got a little chilly again toward the evening. But right now the leaves are beautiful, and that was the purpose of these videos, is just to share the beauty that I'm able to enjoy. And I'm kind of in a new type of life right now because I drive myself to work. And it seems so strange to think back that my life was all about driving a 15-passenger van. Before that, we had a station wagon. And we had a bunch of kids, yeah. So when we first got our first 15-passenger van, it was a van my dad found for us, and he found it somewhere, I don't know. He got a deal on it, and it was older, so he kind of fixed it up and cleaned it up and everything, and it worked really well for us. And I was pregnant with the 7th, I believe, or it could have been I had 8 kids. I just remember being in the van and thinking, wow, we have so much room. This is so awesome. You know, look at the kids even have leg room. So before that, we were driving 2 cars everywhere, and they were just normal cars. So we had, for a little while there, we had to have 2 of them. And we finally got the 15-passenger, and we could all fit in it, and it was so exciting. The only problem with it was it did not have tinted windows. So everywhere we went, people would look inside our car and be like, are these all yours? They would count, and we would, hold up our fingers as to how many kids we had. So that was quite a life, and I loved every single one of those little crazy kids, and the life was good. We were always laughing about something and watching the little kids and the things that they learn, and just, we had our hard times too, believe it or not. The first trip that we went on with the 15-passenger van was, we went to a trip to South Carolina, and we're like, it's going to be hot there. We can't go with these clear windows. We're going to have to get tinted windows and fix the air conditioning. So we brought the van. I'll never forget picking it up with the tinted windows all done up. And we got in it, and the kids were so happy because people couldn't see inside our car. And so that was the life of riding in a 15-passenger van. We also had, when we went on trips, the older kids would buy the treats, and we would call them shut-up treats, so we could just throw treats to the kids, the younger ones, to keep them quiet along the drive. And yeah, so the big kids helped out a lot with the little kids. And we did go on a few different trips. went on a trip to South Carolina. We went to Virginia a couple times. We went to Williamsburg, Pennsylvania, and we did like local trips. But we had a 15-passenger van, and we ended up getting another one when that one broke down. We knew a family locally that they had foster children and everything, and they were downsizing, and they knew that we needed a van, so they asked us if we wanted it, and we're like, how much? And they gave us a really good deal. Like, they practically gave it to us. So we had that van for a while too, and we just kept, patching them and fixing them, and we had to put tires on them. So that was the good old days, riding around in the 15-passenger. At one point, because we did do church, our church is about 30 minutes from our house, we would pick up my grandmother and drive her to church in our van. And at one point, we had a lady down the street that she kind of had some issues. She was elderly, and her family took care of her, and she wanted to go to church. So we would pick her up for church, and she would love to just listen to the music and ride with us to church, believe it or not. So I remember those days. She just loved the music that we had, and she liked to be in the car with all the kids. So those were the fun times. After that, we did have a minibus that we got for the church. And for a short period of time, that was my vehicle to get around. The van was gone, and we needed to use the minibus for a little while. After that, I ended up getting a Suburban. And I had never had a Suburban before. And that one, I think we could seat like 8 kids in there. And I really loved that car. That was one of my favorites. And I loved having the truck feel. And so we drove that till it died. And then I went then we were able to get a minivan. So that was probably the nicest car I ever got, was the minivan. And that was right when we were working at the Christian school, and we needed reliable transportation. Because sometimes when I was homeschooling, if we had car trouble, at least I didn't have to go anywhere. But when I have a job, you kind of need reliable transportation. So we had the 15-passenger van, and then a few years ago, I was able to get myself the car that I'm driving in now, and this is RAV4 Toyota, which is great in the snow. It's been a very reliable vehicle, so I've been really thankful for it. So we have gone through quite a few vehicles in our day. We usually buy used and just keep them going as long as we can, and trust the Lord for the next one. Every time I have to say goodbye to one of our trusty vehicles, it's kind of sad, it's kind of funny, but I have heard other people say they feel the same way. It's almost like having your faithful horse that, you get to know, you get to rely on it, and you appreciate it. And I was thinking about getting a newer vehicle to replace this one, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because the car insurance went up. So we have a family on our car insurance right now. So when the younger boys get a little more independent, maybe they get their own vehicles and they have their own insurance, and my insurance goes down, then we'll be able to possibly get a newer vehicle. This one has been running well, and I'm thankful for it. you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the scenery. This is the highway that I drive down, and I drive through some pretty picturesque areas closer to where I work. But I don't want to make this video too long. The leaves are amazing, and right now you do see quite a bit of green still. But it is really pretty. My heart is still going out and praying for all of those affected by the hurricane Helene. Stories are coming out of heroic activity and deeds being done. And I feel like the beginning of a tragedy is where people come together, they have the energy to work together and do stuff. And I feel like as long as this goes on, it's going to get harder and harder, because they say towns are just wiped out. Some people are stranded. There's no roads to some places, and the resources that they have are going to run out. But the videos that I've seen have been encouraging in the sense that people know this is a time to call out to God. You know, we have tragedies come and we hate it. We don't want to live through tragedies. And just the thought of it is terrible, never mind actually living through it. But the other part of it is the tragedy brings people together and shows us what's most important. And shows us miracles along the way as well. I was just watching a video of a young woman who was helping a neighbor, and she said they brought over their backhoe and they were digging out all of the sand that had been deposited in this person's house, and they were just being met with more and more people showing up to help. And it's just amazing to me that people have that much resolve to help others. And you think in a tragedy you're sitting there helping yourself, figuring yourself out. But to have the energy and the fortitude to reach out and help others in their time of need and put yourself aside, you know, is just amazing to me. And this is what I feel like part of my journey with helping out in town and business is about getting to know the people in my town. It's not about politics per se. I want to be the boss, or I want to be part of making the rules. Actually, I'd rather be part of not making rules, saying let's not make so many rules. And I would rather be a part of helping to relieve us of so many rules, because it doesn't look much like freedom. So right now we're seeing, I left the video on because I keep seeing more and more beauty, and right now we're seeing some fog, which is interesting. It's now 52 degrees, so this fog is kind of interesting. I would think it would be lifted by now, but it is pretty there's a little bit of fog on the top of the trees, and then there's beauty and colors on the right. yeah, this is why I got involved in my town. because I homeschooled. I don't really, I didn't go to the public school, so my kids don't know everybody in town. I know a lot of homeschoolers, but, we kind of mind our business. We go to work, we pay our bills, we do our stuff, and I didn't really know a lot of my neighbors. So the last few years I've gone to meetings and I've met up with people that they meet up too, and then we get to know each other. And I've met a lot of great patriots. I call them the helpers or the doers that live in my town. And I've also met a lot of people that maybe I don't believe with them believe the same way politically, but when it comes right down to it, if something happens in your neighborhood, say, like a hurricane, you're going to reach out and you're going to help people. And you're not going to be saying, oh, what do you believe about the latest library book? You're going to be, how can I help you survive? So that's what we need to get back to in humanity. And I feel like when we had the COVID and we had the mask mandates and all that, people got a little too bossy, and it became that we're fearful of one another rather than being neighborly. And I think being neighborly, we need to get back to that. And we need to be more kind to our neighbors, I guess you'd say. And learn how to communicate, learn how to talk with each other. And we don't always have to agree with everything, but we should kind of reach out and figure out how we can listen to each other, because there might be something someone knows that I don't know, and we need to listen to each other and consider one another's thoughts and beliefs and see how it measures up to truth and that kind of thing. So I'm just heartbroken over all of this stuff going on in the South. And it's hard. It's hard to go about a normal day knowing that there are people suffering terribly in another part of the country. I wish I could quit and just go help. But we also have bills to pay, right? So it's kind of a vicious circle. You can't just... I would like to be independently wealthy, but I haven't figured it out yet. So we keep on keeping on, and we don't underestimate the power of prayer. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. Pray for these people. Pray for our country. Pray for the upcoming election, which is almost 1 month away. Exactly 1 month away. It's November 5th. And a lot is going on right now. Do I trust that one person who is elected as the figurehead leader will save the world? No, I believe God has a purpose, and He will use us and this whole situation somehow. I don't think we really know how it's all going to play out. People think they know. But I do know that God wants us to pray, and He wants us to trust in Him. So that's what we'll do. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to leave it on just for a few minutes because I see the sun is shining. The sun, S-U-N, is shining, and the sun is faithful, and the sun, S-O-N, is also alive in our hearts and showing himself faithful to us every day. Oh my goodness, this is just such a beautiful sight this morning. Wow. I'm thankful for this ride into work. It is so beautiful. It does cost me a little bit of money because I'm not going to school locally. I'm going to school a little bit of ways away, but I get to ride down this road. I'm glad I'm not in bumper-to-bumper traffic. That would really irritate me. So, in the winter, it can be a little tricky because, you know, we get lots of snow up here, but it's still a beautiful sight. This car has been really good in the snow, so I'm thankful for that. Usually when there's a storm, the worst of the storm is at the beginning of the road where I live. I live kind of at the top of the hill, and then the other side is windy roads. But once you get out on the main road,